Toji versus Hisoka, also known as the battle between the characters that underestimated their opponents and those who love to face strong fighters. I couldn't help but to think to myself who would win in a battle between these two. So in this video, I'm going to break down each of these characters' feats to determine which one is stronger than the other and who would be able to take the win. Would Hisoka outsmart Toji with his tactics, or would Toji overpower him with his godly superhuman abilities? As a disclaimer, this video will include some spoilers regarding JJK and Hunter x Hunter, so if you're not caught up with either of these manga, I suggest you click off now. So with that, I suggest you sit back, relax, and enjoy as I go into the Hunter x Hunter JJK crossover battle that is Hisoka versus Toji. As is common for crossover battles, assume Nen and Cursed Energy are interchangeable and can be observed by those in their respective universes. First, starting off with Toji, let's dive into each one of his stats to see how he stacks up against the psychotic, bungee gum wielding clown Hisoka. Regarding his speed, one of the first pieces of evidence we get for how fast Toji is when Megumi comments that Toji is as fast, if not faster, than the three-finger Sukuna he fought outside the detention center. And this is important because Megumi is commenting that he's not only potentially as strong as this Sukuna, but faster as well. We know for a fact that during the Shibuya incident arc, Megumi couldn't even perceive Toji at all when he was carried outside without even knowing what happened. So it's clear to me that Gege was really trying to make a comparison between Toji and three-finger Sukuna, given he was one of the fastest characters in the verse that we had seen at that time. Another typical argument that you see with a lot of other power scalers when it comes to Toji's speed is how he's faster than Naobito, who was hailed as being faster than basically any other sorcerer apart from Gojo. And since Toji was dubbed as the sorcerer killer who literally killed every other sorcerer he came across, the argument holds that he would be faster than somebody like Naobito. Now, this argument was always a little strange to me because it was clearly shown through the Dagon Naobito fight as well as the Maki Naoya fight that projection sorcery is clearly much faster. It's just when those with projection sorcerers move, it's a lot more linear as opposed to somebody like Toji or Maki. But regardless, let's suppose for the sake of this argument that Naobito is, quote, the fastest sorcerer and Toji is deemed as the sorcerer killer where he can be placed relative to him. It's presumed that he can basically then move at the equivalent speed of 24 actions per second, if not faster. And if we want to take this one step further and really highball him, we could scale Toji's reaction speed to the same Maki who was able to dodge an attack from Cursed Spirit Naoya, who was traveling at a top speed of Mach 3 or 2,301 miles per hour. Now jumping into Toji's durability, we know that it's most likely around multi-city block level, given he was able to tank a point-blank red from an awakened Gojo during the hidden inventory arc. Also, given that he's clearly superior to a pre-awakened Maki who was able to tank a point-blank cursed energy attack from a special grade curse being Jogo before her awakening. So generally this places Toji's durability near the top of the verse, but I'm sure not as strong as max output techniques like Hollow Purple or Malevolent Shrine. When it comes to his attack potency, we can estimate that he's most likely around multi-city block level as well, given that he was able to repeatedly stab and impale a young Gojo, who was said to be the strongest sorcerer at that time, completely dismantle and destroy a young Geto, basically just sparing his life out of pity, slashing apart his cursed spirits, which one included the Rainbow Dragon, who was said to have the hardest skin out of Geto's presumed thousands of cursed spirits, piercing through Dagon's summons with Playful Cloud, who were likely on the level of grade 1 curses, given that at the time they were able to hurt sorcerers such as Naobito, Nanami, and Maki. And of course, with his cursed tools, we know that he has the famous Inverted Spear of Heaven, which has the ability to negate any and all cursed techniques, as we saw with Gojo's Limitless being pierced for the first time. Now, with this Hunter x Hunter JJK matchup, this is entirely dependent on the circumstances of the battle, but if we're considering Nen and Cursed Energy to be similar entities, then by extension that would mean that the Inverted Spear of Heaven would have the ability to sever Hisoka's bungee gum completely. However, what evens the odds a little bit for Hisoka here is the fact that Toji can't see cursed energy due to him having none. Therefore, he would be relying on instinct alone to determine where exactly Hisoka's bungee gum is. Lastly, jumping into Toji's intelligence, he's an incredibly gifted combatant. Even though he wasn't officially trained in Jujutsu, he has a wide variety of tools and skill sets at his disposal. He's able to combat and plan against sorcerers like Geto and Gojo, two kids who at the time were hands down considered the strongest beings on the planet. So we know that he's someone who doesn't simply just jump into fights without thinking and has the capacity to thoughtfully dissect his opponents and strategize against them. Also, he can make the most of this intelligence with tools such as the Split Soul Katana and Chain of 1,000 Miles, which gives him the ability to negate durability altogether, as well as have an infinite amount of range. So we know he's an incredibly formidable opponent, but in some instances we know that his ego can get the better of him, like we saw in his final battle against Gojo. Although his body sensed an unknown danger, it was his desire to take down the strongest that ultimately led to his downfall. But with that being said, let's jump over to the crazy clown that we know as Hisoka to see how he stacks up. For the sake of this video, we're going to be analyzing the strengths of post-mortem Nen Hisoka after his fight with Chrollo. For those of you interested in a Chrollo Hisoka explanation video, let me know in the comments if that's something you'd like to see. But this Hisoka is someone who is very different from what we saw in the anime, given that he can regenerate lost body parts with bungee gum and create a whole bunch of disguises using texture surprise. And it's completely broken because it has been shown that these new limbs are even stronger than the ones that were severed, given that they possess the properties of both rubber and gum. I know guys, we all can't resist the meme. But with some of that groundwork out of the way, let's go into each one of Hisoka's stats to see how he stacks up against the sorcerer killer Toji Zenin. Regarding Hisoka's speed, we know that he scales head and shoulders above a Nen trained Gon during the Heavens Arena arc. This is a Gon who is relative to Killua, who is able to speed blitz practically every single person that they had come across in the series, apart from people like the Phantom Troop. Even further substantiating this claim is the fact that Gon and Killua didn't stand a chance when trying to escape from the Phantom Troop members in the York New City arc. This is a Hisoka who is placed generally in the upper echelon of the Phantom Troop and has been shown killing members like Shalnark and Kortopi. Additionally, in the case of Goto, while not being on the same level as the Zoldyck family, Hisoka completely speed blitzes this butler and kills him without realizing what's going on. With these speed feats established, we can generally deduce that this places Hisoka within the realm of Chrollo Lucifer, Silva, and Xeno Zoldyck. Three incredibly top tier characters in their own right. Regarding Hisoka's durabilities, we know that he has done stuff like successfully catching and redirecting a ball launched by Gon's rock and redirected by Razor. Hisoka is someone who is also relatively unscathed by an attack from people like Chrollo Lucifer, and he also tanked an explosion that made a large crater in the Heavens Arena Stadium from the Sun and Moon Nen ability. So while not being on the durability scaling of characters like Meruem, I think Hisoka definitely holds his weight when it comes to the durability department. Now jumping into attack potency, Hisoka is roughly around multi-city block level, as he's the third strongest member of the Phantom Troop physically before Uvogin and Finks. Furthermore, in the past, Hisoka was known for defeating a previous Phantom Troop member who was also likely very strong in his own right. Even more so than this, Hisoka was shown to kill the single-star hunter Bushidora, a very respectable hunter in his own right who participated as a candidate in the new chairman election after Netero died in his fight against Meruem. And when scouting out who he should fight against for potential opponents in the Hunter Association, the only ones that interested him were the Zodiacs, with Kanzai stating that each Zodiac is well above the likes of Moro and Nov, two veteran and very experienced hunters. Now going into Hisoka's intelligence, which I think is one of his possibly greatest assets coming into this battle. We know first off that he's a genius in combat and easily one of the most devious and intelligent characters in the entire series. He's an expert tactician and schemer with excellent analytical abilities, like we saw in his fight against Castro. We've also seen this in situations where he's not fighting, like in the York New City arc when he successfully manipulated the spiders into staying so he could fight Chrollo and forge a fake prophecy in minutes, soon after receiving the original, perfectly replicating its style. His aptitude for reading others and finding common traits is so good, in fact, that he found a system for determining people's Nen types based on their personality. And although he admits that it's unreliable, he's been correct every time he's seen resorting to it. He excels not only at planning, but also picking apart enemy strategies, compiling all information, and coming up with multiple hypotheses in mere seconds in the heat of battle, with an astonishing rate at how he adapts to new environments. He frequently defeats defeats his foes with trickery, like reflecting Goto's coins at him as a mere distraction before appearing from above and slicing his throat, or knocking Castro out with his own severed arm using bungee gum. He even devised a successful plan to revive himself from the dead when he was cornered by Crollo Lucifer, with the latter being one of the few characters in the series to defeat him in battle. But similar to Toji, Hisoka is not without his weaknesses as well. Like the Sorcerer Killer, we know that he's overconfident and cocky, and above all, loves a good fight and will prolong it to have as much fun as possible. His love is so great, in fact, that he's even willing to allow his opponents time to prepare in a fight against him, like in the case of Gon. And after suffering a loss at the hands of Crollo, Hisoka has stopped playing around and is currently on a rampage set to kill the entire Phantom Troop. But now it begs the question of who would win between these two fighters. I think looking at the scaling of each of the verses and based on the feats behind these two characters, I can see Toji taking the W in this scenario. Unfortunately, we just don't see too many speed feats from Hisoka, and when we do, they're more relative to bullet timing, whereas Toji is on a level much faster than that. And while their analytical abilities are essentially comparable, Toji's tools and hacks give him a massive advantage over Hisoka. On that same note, Toji's enhanced senses would be able to pick up where bungee gum is, similar to how he could sense cursed energy and cursed spirits. I think this would completely mitigate any sort of trickery that Hisoka would try to pull, as is typical in his fighting style. Overall though, Hisoka wouldn't be a complete walk in the park for Toji, since he's an incredibly powerful individual and could perhaps get some bungee gum attacks in without him knowing what's going on. But let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear what you think of this epic fight between these two characters. Did you guys generally agree or disagree with my takes? If you guys like this content, be sure to subscribe and comment so I can continue to make the best anime content you all want to see. If you've made it to the end of this video, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll chat with you in the next one. Stay curious, anime fam. Peace.